In one of the most famous movies of my generation, Kung Fu Panda, the main character goes out on a journey to find his inner peace. And as he finds inner peace, people around him take advantage of him. People around him fight. And in the end, he uses his inner peace against his enemy. The same could be said about the land of Syria and the status quo. Because according to an article by the Council of Foreign Relations on December 12th, Israel has struck deep into Golden Heights, and they are not pulling out anytime soon. So today's question, will the fall of Assad's regime bring peace to Syria's answer is a simple no. And this is for three main reasons. First is because of Israel and Turkish aims in trying to take advantage of the situation. Next is Russia and oil objectives that they have lost because of the fallen Assad regime and how they want to claim them back. And then finally is the Captagon and drug trade that pulls through Syria in the status quo. So first, let's look at Israeli and Turkish aims in the area. Because according to an article by Al Jazeera in 2019, Israel has been longing for the land of Golden Heights. And now, with the opportunity that they have been presented with, they have pushed forward. Because ever since the conflict with Palestine and its origin starts in the modern world on October 7th of 2023, Israel has been more aggressive, more violent, especially with Prime Minister Netanyahu in the corner. Because according to an article by the United States Department of Defense, Israel has struck more than 300 bombs into the land of Golden Heights in this past 2 weeks. And this, we can see, is that the conflict in Syria has been dragged out. And it's not going to stop anytime soon as long as there are countries such as Israel around trying to take advantage. But it's not just Israel, it's also the Turkey and its aims in the area. Because according to an article by the Council of Foreign Relations as well, Turkey has struck 35 miles deep into northern Syria and has taken the northern border. And as they take the northern border, they have been planning to annex these parts of Syria because of the fall of the Assad regime. And they've been pushing and funding even more Turkish militia groups because in the past week, Turkey has pushed forward acts of $5 million towards these Turkish militia groups in Syria to fight down Kurdish rebels in fear of their own sovereignty at home. What we see, two nations, Israel and Turkey, taking advantage of a weakened Syria and a forming of inner peace. But next, let's look at Russia and oil objectives. Because according to an article by the New York Times this past week, Assad has declared that the fight is not over and that he is not going to give up Syria this easy. And yes, this is concerning because of his backing from Russia. His backing from Russia is really important to consider because it's the reason why he was there in the first place. And Russia wants to keep its influence in Syria for mainly two main reasons. First is to keep its Middle Eastern stronghold. Because according to an article by The Hill in this past year, Russia's only real strongholds in the Middle East are in Iran and are in Syria. And if he loses Syria, he's going to lose that stronghold against the United States and Israel. And that Russia does not want to lose this. But next is when we bring up real statistics when it comes to oil standards and the loss of oil Russia gets from the jihadists rebelling in Syria. Because according to an article by OPEC, states that Syria is the near land of opportunity for the oil industry in 2024 of January. And Russia wants this estimated 500,000 metric tons of black gold, which this will definitely create conflict in the near future of Russia wanting to benefit its own economy in the status quo. But the final point we touch on is Captagon and the drug trade, because 78% of the world's Captagon goes through Syria, states an article by CNN. What we see is that as Captagon continues to go through Syria, so does crime and violence. And rival gangs and militia groups want their superiority over the trade in Syria. If Syria if Syria's gang members and militia groups start fighting against each other, this is more of a land of destabilized land, not as much as peaceful. And if this continues to happen, Syria will never find its bottom line. Syria will not find its peace because of its continuous Capagon trade, because of these gangs and militia groups that continue to go through. Because according to an article by the United Nations, 1 out of 3 people in Syria are related to the Capagon trade. If this continues to happen and people in Syria don't have a connection with an actual real world international economy, Syria will fall. And this will all continue as long as the United States keeps its Cesar Chavez Act up, putting sanctions on Syria, limiting their trade with the outside Western world. What we see today is that Syria is in a moment of trying to find inner peace. But people around them, situations that they were through, and the quotes that they are in now, are putting them in a really tough spot. So there are 3 reasons that we think of today of why Syria will not find its inner peace. First is because of Israel and Turkish aims in the area, trying to claim superiority and making sure that their sovereignty at home stays safe. Next is Russia and oil objectives that they do not want to lose, both their Middle Eastern stronghold and the oil opportunity that is in Syria. And then finally is the destabilization that the Capagon and drug trade brings to Syria. So today what we need to see is that just like Kung Fu Panda, Syria is trying to find its inner peace, but the situation and the time is not quite right. Thank you.